Hi, good morning. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Let's have a look at what's going to happen in 2024. So 2024 is going to have a similar pattern in the first week or 2 weeks, which will be a Santa Claus rally following on from what happened in 2023. There was a massive jump in markets from November, December, all the way to where they are now with the Nasdaq, S&P and Wall Street at all-time highs. There is going to be a pullback in the first quarter. The first quarter, January to March, you're going to see a 10 to 15% pullback on US markets, which are well overvalued and well overstretched by any measure. Furthermore, the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates. They stated that they're going to cut at least 3 times in 2024, and the analysts, investment bankers, traders and hedge funds have now priced in a 6-time rate reduction starting from February, March, all the way through to September. And that's going to be a problem. Why is it a problem? Because whenever the Fed cuts interest rates into an inflation environment, inflation is high. It's well above the level that the central banks wanted at, whether it's in Europe, UK, or the US, Canada, Australia. When the central banks, everyone's waiting for the Fed, when the central banks cuts rates, inflation is going to move higher. Why? Borrowing becomes cheaper, and therefore individuals, the public, will go and borrow money and they'll go and spend. And that spending will drive inflation higher. In addition to that, there's something very suspicious about the Fed announcement back in November that they plan to cut at least 3 times in 2024. They know something that you and I don't. Now they think they're looking at a major slowdown, not a soft landing, a major slowdown, but they don't want to frighten the public by stating that there's going to be a recession or a heavy landing. But there's never been a soft landing as far as recessions are concerned. So for 2024 in the first quarter, you're going to see markets naturally pull back from the very high valuations. From March to June, you'll see continuing volatility, trying to find a base of where markets are going. And then from June, you're probably going to have a rise in markets all the way through to the election in 2024 in the US, which is generally what will happen. Now, that's all based on economic patterns and economic history, and that's what's likely to happen, unless there's a shocker to the system, whether geopolitical or some sort of crisis. However, my take on events, and I'm going to put a neck on the line here, is that markets are going to fall between January and March. They're going to bounce around between March and June, and inflation is going to start rising around about February, March, April time. And that's going to put pressure on the Fed and the other central banks. So not only in the US is inflation going to rise, but also in the UK and in Europe and other Western developed countries like Japan, Australia and Canada. Everyone's waiting for the Fed to cut rates, because if the other countries cut rates earlier than the Fed, then everyone will move their money over to the dollar, and that'll cause the local sovereign currency to drop. So everyone's waiting for the Fed to cut rates in order that there won't be a run on the pound or the euro or the yen or Canadian dollar or the Aussie dollar, etc., etc., etc. Everyone's waiting for the cue from the Fed. However, my take on 2024 is that you're going to see a fall in markets between January and June, and then markets are going to bounce, and then you're going to have rising inflation, which will put pressure on the Fed. The rate cuts are not going to happen as aggressively as the market anticipates, putting further downside pressure on financial markets, because once those rates don't happen, then markets will fall, and they'll fall significantly. Is there going to be a major crash in 2024? That's open for debate. Question: I personally think because of it's an election year, there will be a significant downturn, but the crash could be delayed by Biden and his cronies to 2025, assuming that he gets in. Hopefully he won't. My hope is that Donald Trump will get in. That's my political view. Need a bit of order in the political and financial world. That's it for now. You can share, subscribe, comment. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Have a good day.